I know. Yeah, I did. Just got back in town, so I was like, I gotta look at this thing before I get there. I did.
I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Board of, representing the Sylvania, not the Township, the Board of Zoning Appeals special meeting, Monday, October 23rd, 2017, at about 4:59. Roll call.
Mr. Lamont?
Here.
Mr. Schlechter?
Here.
Mr. Hubbard?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Hayes?
Here. Okay. I don't know if we had the I think the meeting minutes came through. Maybe a motion, or anybody got any questions on them? Or?
I'll move to approve.
Second. Didn't read them.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Lamont?
Yes.
Mr. Schlechter?
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Any old business? I believe so at this time. Okay. New business. A variance request for a front yard setback from 30 feet required to 12 feet provided for property located at 5922 Riga Drive, parcel number 7866821, STZR section 703. I gotta do one thing here. Anybody that has anything from the audience to say today, we have to swear you in. Okay, raise your right hand. Here, you can sit. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I can sit.
Okay.
I'm also going to speak. I don't know if you're, are you calling this one right now, or are you?
No, you'll get a chance during the meeting to come up, but you have to be sworn in, so we don't want you, you know.
Are you sworn in now?
Yes.
All right, I can do that again. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yeah, anybody who might...
Anybody's got the right hand.
Yeah, anybody who might stand there. There we go. That's the thing, stand-up's nice.
Okay.
I like that touch.
All right, everybody getting to talk.
Yeah, anybody wants to talk.
Yeah.
You
All right, right hand, all right. All right, do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
You look like an honest bunch.
Thank you.
What are you gonna do? A little ad bar there. Okay. What else we gotta do? Okay, any questions up here yet, or?
Staff report.
Anybody? How about you?
I read the staff report.
Yeah.
You have some?
Ready.
Staff report?
Staff report.
Oh, yes, staff report, yeah. Oh, that's what I was asking for. Thought you knew the routine by now.
Subject property consists of a single-family dwelling constructed in 1926 on 2 adjoining lots with a combined area of just over 1/2 acre. The property zoned RA suburban residential has a required minimum front setback of 30 feet per section 703 of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution. The existing dwelling sits at this minimum setback line of 30 feet from the public right-of-way. There's an additional approximate 20 feet from the right-of-way line to the edge of the pavement of Riga Drive. The applicant is seeking a variance on the front setback requirement in order to construct a disability ramp 12 feet from the public right-of-way line. This represents a variance of 18 feet. The Americans with Disabilities Act, Title II Regulations, Section 35-130 states, quote, "No qualified individual with a disability shall on the basis of disability be excluded from participation in or be denied the benefits of the services, programs, or activities of a public entity or be subjected to discrimination by any public entity," unquote. It further states, quote, "A public entity shall make reasonable modifications in policies, practices, or procedures when the modifications are necessary to avoid discrimination on the basis of disability unless the public entity can demonstrate that making the modifications would fundamentally alter the nature of the service, program, or activity," unquote. Local zoning requirements fall under the referenced policies, practices, and procedures. Staff recommends approval of the requested variance to the minimum front setback requirement in an RA zone district for the property located at 5922 Riga Drive. Per section 2406D of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution, quote, "The granting of the application is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right and not merely to serve as a convenience to the applicant," unquote. Additionally, the variance should not present a substantial detriment to the public good or alter the intent of the zoning resolution.
Okay. Any questions yet, or you want to see what you got to say? Okay, does anybody like to talk on behalf of this? Go up to the podium, sign in, and state your name and address.
My name is Katie Hunt Thomas. I'm the attorney for the Ability Center. I'm also representing Gabe and Krista Anto in this matter. I know that all of you are fairly familiar with what's going on because you had a special get-together and then called the special meeting, so I'll keep this fairly short. But Gabe Anto is a 16-year-old who uses a manual wheelchair to get around. He's present here today. And on his behalf, the Ability Center is requesting a reasonable accommodation of the setback requirements for Sylvania Township in order to allow us to assist him in building a ramp. The Antos recently moved to 5922 Riga in Sylvania Township, and they reached out to us in order to build a ramp on the property. When our contractors went out there, we noticed that it was infeasible to build a ramp within the setback requirements, and that it would require an additional 18 feet in order to build the ramp. And that's when we made the reasonable accommodation request on behalf of Gabe. Currently, Gabe cannot leave his home without assistance of his parents. He enjoys playing basketball and has a basketball hoop in his yard. His grandma lives right down the street. And he'd like to leave the home in order to get to school independently, but he can't do that without a ramp. In evaluating the property, there really is no other way for him to be able to leave and get in independently. As was mentioned in the staff report, the Americans with Disabilities Act and the Fair Housing Act offer additional protections to Gabe because of his status as a person with a disability. They require local governments to amend their policies and procedures and their laws in order to grant accommodations when it would ameliorate the effects of a disability. So we're making actually 3 requests tonight. The first is for the reasonable accommodation, just to allow us to proceed with building the ramp. And the second is to allow us to do that, or to make the decision in an expedited manner. I know in speaking with Ability Center contractors, they're concerned about weather, they're concerned about the amount of time it's going to take to get a permit, and they're concerned about the grant funding that's present for this ramp running out fairly soon. So we're just asking if you can make a decision tonight that would allow us to proceed with the ramp as soon as possible. The third thing we're requesting is a refund of the $150 fee that's required to have this meeting. The ADA does not allow local governments to charge a surcharge for a reasonable accommodation. I know that that is unusual for a person to be asserting federal law in this context, and a lot of times people aren't familiar with it. So if that's a decision that needs to be made later, I'd be happy to provide you with some additional context and information, laying out the law on that. So I wanted to thank you for calling this special meeting. I know that some neighbors and also Krista and Gabe were interested in speaking, so I will end mine. Just with those three things, we're requesting that the reasonable accommodation be granted because it's reasonable and necessary due to his disability, that it be granted in an expedited manner, hopefully tonight, so we can proceed with building the ramp, and that we get the refund of the $150 fee, which is unlawful under the ADA, though I know that local districts aren't always familiar with that law. And as I said, I'd be happy to provide you with some information after the hearing if you'd like to see some law supporting that. I do have a joint statement of the Department of Housing and Urban Development and Department of Justice that discuss reasonable accommodations in this context. And if I can pass these out to you. Okay. Page 3 actually discusses reasonable accommodations in setback requirements for this particular, this exact kind of situation. We also have somebody here from the Ability Center who can discuss some of the technical aspects of this. He actually did the drawing for the ramp and will be involved in building it in case you have technical questions about construction.
Wood, I toured the open house at the Ability Center. They had a really great job with wood. I wasn't sure if they were using metal for the project or wood.
It would be a wood ramp. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the only time we use metal is if it's a temporary ramp for the Ability Center program. Do you have more technical questions that you would want our contractor to come up and speak on?
Was it feasible to put it in the rear of the house at all, or is this the only place it can go?
So they did an evaluation. Actually, we evaluated it twice to make sure that we couldn't fit it within the setbacks. The rear of the house has a stairwell that leads to the door back there. So while they might be able to build a ramp to get into the home, once a wheelchair got up there, they wouldn't be able to go anywhere.
Did you have to go up another landing once you got in the house and it was in the rear?
Yes.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Anybody else?
While he's coming up, have we encountered this? I'm just curious with application fees, with anything related to ADA?
No, this is the first one I've ever had.
Do we have, you don't have the authority for that, right, to run that, does the body have? Do we know?
It's a trustee thing.
That's
The
what-
trustees that have to do that, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think it would be the administrator.
Yeah, because
Actually, the fee was $250 for a special meeting. We just charged them the regular meeting fee of $150, and that's to cover the advertising costs, the blade and the mail notices.
Would it be best for us to make the request elsewhere?
It's probably, yeah, my guess is it's probably not for this body to be able to weigh in on that. It's probably, to Darrell's point, the township administrator or the trustees would need to make that decision.
Okay. Our initial letter did go to the township administrator as well.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sure.
My name is Tom Horn. I live at 5903 Riga Drive. That's approximately 3 doors down and across the street from the house that we're talking about here. 2 years ago, I had a stroke, and it gave me a new perspective on what people go through that are in a wheelchair. For 2 months, I was in a wheelchair, and through the good folks at Flower Rehab and a lot of people praying for me, I got better. I can walk and talk again. I've seen them struggle to try to get Gabe up that ramp, the ramp that's there now, and it's just too hard for him to do it. And I suggest that they allow the variance and get that ramp built for him before the weather gets bad. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the audience like to say anything? I'll make a motion.
Sure.
You want to go back?
No, do me do it.
I don't think you need to go back. Okay, I'll make a motion for a variance request for front yard setback from 30 feet required to 12 feet, provided for the property location at 5922 Riga Drive. Okay.
Second.
I mean, question is, anybody, do we want to?
I guess the only thing I have a question on is the fee that you have to go to the township for that. We can't do that. Is there anything else?
I don't think so, so that's, no, I think that's.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Mr. Lyon.
Enthusiastically, yes.
Mr. Schweitzer.
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes. It has been granted. You'll still get it in writing in 30 days, but you shouldn't have any problem at all, as far as I know.
Yeah, they can, I mean, it's granted, so if
Yeah.
you want to get started.
So you may want to get with Daryl afterwards. He's our zoning administrator, and he can maybe give you the process to appeal the fee. Okay? Yes.
So we'd have a letter tonight stating that it's been granted, is that what you're saying, or?
It's on record as of tonight, right?
As of tonight, yeah.
So how do I gotta take proof to the Lucas County, so I can get my permit?
Right, you have to get the zoning permit from us, and then,
Yeah, how do I get the zoning permit, I guess that's what I'm asking.
okay,
When can I get
we
it?
can get you an application tonight.
Well, we've already applied for it, that's why we're here.
No, it's different.
So the application don't give me I need approval. That's what you're doing today, approving it, correct?
Approving the variance.
Variance, yeah.
Variance.
Yeah,
Will there be minutes or something that you'll be able to take to the Lucas County?
yeah, it's been out by tomorrow morning. Let me see.
She's got.
See, all we can do is approve it.
Right.
Right, all we have.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's all I need is a letter saying that it's been approved. An email,
Could you do that
probably,
tonight?
probably a letter.
Would you be able to provide us with a letter or email just saying something?
But they still need a zoning certificate,
Right.
that's what you're
Yeah.
saying. That's all he,
He's
go
gonna
ahead.
All the building
Yeah,
department will want is.
just so he
zoning.
understands there is two different things. Now they can get his.
The minutes aren't gonna do anything to the
We
building.
can't wait 30 days to proceed.
No, you're getting the permit tonight.
Yeah, he's saying you need to start a new application and they'll just.
That's, yeah, the application's for a zoning certificate. You got your variance, that's what you submitted for. Now you need for Lucas County a zoning certificate, so that's what they'll be able to get you. Okay?
Good service, Daryl. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the first I've seen you do the same day as the meeting. Thank you.
That's
Thank
a
you
record,
for
no precedent.
Working overtime.
Thanks, Daryl.
Yeah, thanks, you
You
guys.
did a nice job there. All right. We need a motion.
Second.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Mr. Romano.
Yes.
Mr. Schweitzer.
Yes.
Mr. Hubbard.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Good luck, you guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're adjourned. Been watching the park.
We beat the weather so long.
Yeah. Well,
With the weather.
I think we're gonna get some more.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah.
I haven't been watching.
What, the rain?
The weather.
We need it.
All right, so that was that. So is mine. Everything else good?
That was very good.
Yes, how may I be of service?